I start telling her about my suspicions and this and that. And she's like, you know what? I think you're right. I think something happened to my son. And after like talking about all of this stuff, I told her like straight up, listen, I will be friends with you. I will follow you to the very end. You got somebody behind your back for all of this, but you must fight for justice for Gavin. You have to. You cannot let this just be named as a drowning when you know it's not. She was like, yeah, I agree. And she went forward. As we're talking and like filling in the gaps of the months we haven't been talking, she starts telling me what these two friends were doing in my absence. And it is like completely shameful. Like I'm like, this is real life? But anyways, the friend who made that post on May 31st, who posted Gavin's body on TikTok at the funeral and closed in on his knees, bro, even after the mom said that the knees were broken. Closed in on his knees and posted it on TikTok. I'm gonna add that video on it too. Public knowledge. She posted that video. That same friend became a life insurance agent all of a sudden. You know who her first policy was? Girlene. And the friend that invited her to Jacksonville, Florida, wanted to be named as guardian in case of Girlene's death for her older son, who's nonverbal autistic. The thing about Girlene is that she's always been a person who always looked for love. She never really felt it with her family. She was never close to her family. She was never close to her mother. She had like a hard relationship with her mother. So she was always looking for someone who actually loved her, but she had a lot of users around her, people that wanted to gain because she didn't care about money. She would literally give you the shirt off her back if you needed it. Even if you didn't ask for it, she would do it. She didn't care about money at all. She cared about love, like her relationships, like with her sons, with her friends. Like she really cared about that. Like she was just a very social, loving person who wanted relationships more than any material things. That's who Girlene was. And these snakes, parasites, were around her looking to gain from his debt. So Girlene chooses to get a life insurance policy through this woman who all of a sudden became a life insurance agent after Gavin dies. Even coming from a job that I don't know if she was let go or fired. I don't know what it is, but it had nothing to do with life insurance. And a clothing online business that didn't seem to be doing so well. And then all of a sudden you become a life insurance agent. So Girlene creates this life insurance policy. I guess Girlene told me that the friend from Jacksonville, Florida wanted to be put as the guardian for her older son just in case anything happened to her. And I'm like, oh, are you serious right now? Like, I'm this and I'm all about investigative nature, but I'm like, could it be more obvious? But anyways, I was like, yo, Girlene, that gotta get cut off. We're done. That's getting cut off ASAP. That gotta go. So we working on that, and the friend recording, and she can't even hide the viperous nature that she has. It's like this woman lost her son and you yelling at her like she's a child because she don't want to be a part of your life insurance policy anymore.
You wanted to do, Now, I hear, something else. You feel like somebody's after you and blah, blah, blah. But this affects my license. This affects the quality of work, and that's not fair. This is why I didn't sit with you on my own to do this. I didn't sit with you on my own. I brought a representative who's actually in the field with me because I just didn't want no issues. I didn't want no error. Now for me to go back, a company who just filed for my license, for me to be like, oh, by the way, what? This first referral, the so-called friend, is like canceling the policy. It affects the quality of work. It affects my license. Okay, so like I hear you. You're saying that blah blah blah. Since she came back, she had that conversation with you. You told me perhaps you were drunk. You don't remember. You told me Myri came over. You guys had lots of conversation, and she tells you all of this thing that your son, blah blah blah. How she felt like you were part of some kind of conspiracy that we killed your son. Like people killed your son. You weren't talking like that. You weren't talking like that. You got to the point you understood an accident took place with you and your son. Even that night, you tell them you're going to investigate. I'm like, what investigation are you going to do? If there was something to investigate about Gavin, trust me, you would not be walking clear. You would not be.
And at this point, I'm just thinking this is some weird voodoo thing. I'm thinking like the friends were a part of like, getting him set up for this ritual sacrifice. I'm just thinking it's some witchcraft voodoo thing. I'm not realizing at this point that it actually includes much more than that. It's not just the friends, I think, that are involved, or I don't know, but it has to do with the sheriff department. It has to do with the medical examiner. It has to do with all of these parts, but I'm gonna get to that. So after she cut that life insurance policy off, because that was step number one, that gotta go. That's done. So that was gone, and she's basically done with these friends at this point. Because she even in my absence, she was writing to the friend that she thinks that she killed her son, and I got the text messages to prove it. So who want to argue? You know what I'm saying? Without me even being in the picture, without me even ever telling Girlie myself that I thought they had something to do with the ritual sacrifice. She was already writing that to that friend that invited her to Jacksonville, Florida. So who want to argue? At this point, she tells me that she already started to prepare herself to run a marathon. She was like, she wanted to run the marathon, get her mind right and situated. But now we're realizing this could be a great opportunity to bring awareness to Gavin. So, she's like, she's about to run this marathon November 7th in 2021. And we're getting ready. We're preparing, whatever. As we're becoming friends, this is the ending of October, going into November. We're prepping for the marathon. We get in the private investigator. We got rid of the life insurance policy. She starts telling me about the actual happenings of the day of his death. And I'm like, son, first and foremost, she said Gavin was in her lap and she was feeding him cake. And they went to, let me just first say this. She said that she was supposed to fly back. And the friend extended her flight without her even knowing. And then she said that the friend all of a sudden wanted to invite her to another birthday party. They attended the original birthday party, but all of a sudden there was another birthday party they needed to go to of the same person, but they were just having another birthday celebration. Okay, so she goes there. It's like a house kind of shindig. And she has Gavin on her lap and she's feeding him cake. And the friend that invited her to Jacksonville, Florida, tells her, take Gavin off of your lap. You spoil him too much. Get him off of your lap. And she does. And Girlie told me, get him off his lap. Gavin's gone. She's calling, screaming, nobody could find Gavin. Gavin's gone. And it's just so funny that the person that invited her to this birthday party, who extended her flight without her even knowing, is the one that told her to take Gavin off of her lap. And then he ends up gone. So boom, she's all over looking for the place, looking all over. And then they find him dead in the pond. Right? She also tells me that at this party, there was a woman there from Chicago who wanted to take pictures of Gavin. I guess because she thought he was a very cute kid and she wanted to put it in for modeling or something of that sort. So she told me that happened. She also told me at this house party that there was somebody selling jewelry, birthstones. How this person get in a house party selling jewelry and birthstones that nobody knows? So already she telling me all these little details. I'm like, I connected the dots, because this seems like it makes more sense to me than him running away. Because first off, I know Gavin, been around him all the time, and let me tell you something. He's a kid that would literally break down the door if he's not near his mother. He don't leave his mother's side, and I've seen that with my own two eyes as I've been around her almost every day. So I'm like, so he's moving outside of pattern behavior. All these weird things are happening. You got people selling birthstones at a house party. It's like on some barbecue vibes. Where does this person come from selling birthstones? And she said it basically distracted everybody.
When doing the barbecue, everybody was outside. I turned my head to give this lady money. My son disappeared. It was for a second.
So that was another weird thing too. So I'm like, you telling me all of this. I'm seeing their character behaviors. I'm seeing the patterns. I'm seeing all of this. The math ain't mathing for me. So as we talking more, getting that detail out, life insurance policy gone. Then I'm like, do you have a copy of the medical examiner's report? No, she had nothing. The friend literally had every single piece of what had to do with Gavin's death. I'm like, Girlie, are you serious? But I'm like, all right, we're going to play catch up because we got to get this done. So we called the lawyer. Also, the friend also got all of the workings together. So she got the lawyer for the lawsuit. She got everything. She did everything. She did all the work. She got every piece together. So I'm like, all right, first, before we even get the private investigator, we called the lawyer. Because we're like, Girlie wants to tell him, what she thinks. That something else happened to her son, that it wasn't just a drowning. And the lawyer's response, we're going to post that too, as it was leaked on the Justice for Gavin Duyom page. Public knowledge.